Welcome back everybody to Board Game Breakdown. I am Christopher Solomon and we are here today with a new video and we will be talking about Stroganov. So before we get started, if you want a shorter, quicker video, then click this link here for our burst version where we will go over Stroganov in about 3 to 4 minutes. But if you want a longer version where we dive into setup, how to play, everything like that, then stick right here with us on this video. I am concentrating on the solo variant that comes packed in the box, but a lot of the things as far as setup or gameplay roll over to the multiplayer version. So if you're only looking for content on the multiplayer, you might still want to watch this video as it could be helpful. So Stroganov is a really massive game. It comes with a lot of different mechanisms that you'll see fleshed out as we play. And the solo version, I want to concentrate on that because it's done really well. It feels almost like playing another player, and it just works really well. So I want to make sure to spread the love for that. So before we go any further, please subscribe to our channel here so you can see all the new videos, or go visit our website at boardgamebreakdown.com where we have text reviews and links to everything else. You can also find us on Mastodon or Instagram by searching Board Game Breakdown. So without further ado, let's get started with Stroganov. Alright, so we're going to start off on the setup here of Stroganov, and like I said in the intro, we are going to set up a solo game, but a lot of the setup and the gameplay for the solo is the same as a 2 or 3 player game. So if you are watching the video and not interested in playing solo but interested in playing multiplayer, a lot of this information will go a long way there. So you can see the board out here, and I've already set up a few things with it because there's a part that takes a really long time, and that is setting out these little fur tiles. So we kind of went ahead and did that, but I'll explain that. So what you want to do first is, once you put the board out, you're going to take this starting tile here and you would place it there, and then you're going to have 5 starter tiles, and I'll flip this one over so you can see, but you know that the starting tiles are the starter ones because they have this S on it right here, whereas a normal one has no S. So you would mix up the 5 starting tiles and you would place them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you would shuffle up all these and you would fill out the rest of this area. And the ones that you don't use, and these are landscape tiles, you're going to just put in a stack because they're going to come out throughout the game. Then the part that takes a really long time is you have 76 fur tiles that you dump in this bag, and you would take them out, and each of these tiles has a certain amount of spots on it. So like this one had 2, and if we were filling that one up, we would take 2 out and you would put the lowest number on top and then the next number, and you would basically do that all the way down. So that part I've already pretty much taken care of, and then the bag you want to just put to the side because you're going to need that later on. So we've kind of done that part. You're going to have a pile of money, of horses, and you'll notice that there are silver ones and burgundy ones, we'll call it. Then you also have a pile of these blue tiles, which I'm trying to remember the name of them, but I cannot remember the name of them right now. So I'll look that up in a second. But you're going to take those and dump them out there. Oh, they're banner tokens. And depending on how many people are playing, you'll count out a certain amount. So we have 12 over there right now. And then you'll see all this stuff down here. We're going to put it out on the board. And then over here, we have the player I'm going to be in blue, and then the AI player, which is Ivan. And you will always play against that character card, but you can pick any of the cards you want. And even the Ivan card has a dual side. So one side has an A labeled down here. The other side is B, has a little bit of a variety of different powers depending on which character you pick, but the A sides are all the same. So we will just play with the A side for right now. All right, so there's a couple things that you're going to place around or on the board. So what we'll start out doing is taking these. These are your starting fur tiles, and there's just one of each number, and you will know that it is a starting one because it has this like edge that is not perfectly square or round. So you'll kind of shake these up. You could put them in a bag or something, but we'll just take one out. Okay, so it's the stag, just 6, and that will go right there. And that is going to be a fur that you can trade to do these different actions throughout the game. The rest of the starting fur tiles you're going to place in numerical order from left to right, one of them in each of these regions. And obviously we skip 6 because 6 is up there. All right, so that's that part. Another thing you will do is these little tiles here, and on the front side they have maybe a city or a village or something. You'll see that it matches this. You're going to just shuffle these up, and then you're going to flip one and place it there over the little village of each region. And those are going to stay there the whole game. They're not going to move or switch out or anything. They're just going to stay there. Another thing you'll want to grab is your yurt tiles. And you'll see that the yurt tiles have an A or a B like this. So a lot of these pieces have A's and B's on them. I've already separated out the B's up there, but what you're going to do is you're going to separate the A's and B's. You're going to place the B's up there. You're going to shuffle the A's. And then the yurts have a little hut section here. And you're going to place one on each of these. And then the balance of your A's are going to go on top of the B's. So you have a lot of yurts because as you use the yurts, they're actually going to come off the board, unlike the cities that stay there. All right, next you're going to have some of these Czar wish cards, and much like the yurts, they have an A, which, there you go. The B's already up there, and then make sure that you also have ones with an S. Put those off to the side, and we'll get with those later. But for the A's, you're going to place them right here in this little red section. And then again, the balance of these are going to go on top of there. And then the last A-B type tile you have are song tiles. So again, I've already put the B's up there. But you're going to take out as many as there are players, and you're going to just lay them out like this for this round or this season, or this year, I guess I should say, and then the rest go right there. So you'll see that every region now has stuff on it. So that part is set up. A couple other things happening up here is you have these Siberian tiger victory points. They are worth 2 victory points at the end of the game, but they're also furs. You'll place them up there in a pile, and then you actually will take one and place it on the very last tile there. What else do we got? We've got these outposts. So you'll see that we've got outposts of the colors that we're using, but we also grabbed out some of the outposts of the other colors. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover up some of the spots. So you probably can't see, but over these little X's, there are 2s and 3s. So we're going to cover some of these up because you do not want all of the outposts available when you're only playing with a single person. And if you're playing with 2 or 3, you would just read the instructions. It would tell you which ones to cover up. So those are already taking up those spots. All right, so let's look at what you need for your personal character over here. So Every character should have this little pile of things. So the first thing is you'll have a Cossack. Cossack? I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong. But he'll go on the starting tile over there. And Ivan has the same of all the pieces. So we're going to put his over there as well. Next, you have this thing that looks like maybe a book or a scroll or something. And let me look at its official name. I think it's called the trophy token. That's what I'm going to call it. Because it does go up and down the trophy track. And the trophy track is located right here on your board. So each person will put their little trophy there. The next thing we have is the victory point counter. So it looks like a little shield. And that will go up here. The victory points are counted at the top. And we'll take Ivan's and place his just up there as well. Oops. Okay. And then you also have your song token. And you'll place that here. And that is the song track, which we'll explain obviously later. And then each person starts with one outpost. So keep an outpost there on each person's card. You'll get these outposts later, but not at the moment. So then the starting player gets 3 horses. So the burgundy horses count as 3. So Ivan is always the starting player, so he'll get 3. Oops. Sorry if I knocked the camera. And then the second player, which will be you, will get 4 horses. So a gray and a brown one. Each person starts with 1 coin. That. You will also take the fur bag, and there's a market up here with 6 furs, so we need to fill that in randomly. It doesn't matter if they go numerical because people will be buying or trading these. So just take 6 out and throw them up there. All right, and then lastly, you have the starting, remember I said the S cards. So this is a little different in the solo player edition here, but you're going to flip out 2 of these, and you're going to take a fur, and you're going to just randomly place a fur on each one. And so now we are going to select which one we want, and I'll show you the card, and we'll talk about this more, but this has something to do with how many furs of that kind you need to collect, and this is like a bonus that happens sometimes throughout the whole game, sometimes just once. It just depends on what it is. So we are going to choose first, and we get the fur, and so we're just going to pick this one because, I don't know, I just want to keep the game going. So for Ivan, he doesn't really need this. If he gets other Tsar wish cards, he can keep them, but for right now he just gets that, and then he automatically gets a point because he did have a point. That's the victory point thing there, so he gets to start out with a point. Lastly, I already forgot to mention this, but you have a little marker here to mark what season you're in, and there are 4 seasons, obviously, and then you're going to play 4 years. So basically 16 rounds. But the first, we'll say the first 3 seasons of each round are gameplay, and then the 4th round or 4th season, which is winter, is just kind of like a cleanup phase, which we'll obviously go over, and you just keep track up there. There is a point here where you scrap all these A cards and A yurts and all that kind of stuff and put out the B ones. So that's another reason why we separated the A's and B's. So I think that is it for the setup. Oh no, sorry, that would be the end of the setup if this was not a single player game. But in a single player, you need something to control Ivan, and he has his own deck of cards here. And so I've already shuffled these up, but you're going to take off 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are going to go back in the box. And then that will be his deck that he gets to play with, and we will go over when it's Ivan's turn how he goes about using those and what it all means, and then we'll take a turn on our side. So that is the setup. So let's jump right into the gameplay. All right, so let's jump into the gameplay. And one thing you will notice is that in the solo game, Ivan actually always goes first. But I think if we tried to explain Ivan first, that it might not make much sense because you've never seen the game before. So we are going to actually focus on what your turn would look like, and then go over how Ivan plays, and then we'll play a few rounds so you can see it in action. But I mentioned in the intro that there are 4 seasons, so you'll see this block up here is kind of wide and has these 3 emblems. Those are for spring, summer, and autumn, and they give you what your actions are going to be. So every spring, summer, and autumn, you're going to follow the same guidelines, I guess, for what you can do. And then you'll see to the right of that is the winter emblem, and it is a cleanup phase, and it tells you what you can do there. Now there are a lot of different actions, so we are going to try to go through these a little slow to make sure that everyone understands, because it can be a little painful to figure it out if you're not really paying attention. So the first thing you're going to do, and you'll see right here, is you're going to move. So you always have to move your Cossack. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So it gives you some information there on that you can move up to 2 spots. There's 2 little arrows there. But you can also use your horses to move more. So remember, we start with horses, and the burgundy ones are 3. The gray ones are 1 horse. So depending on how many you want to spend, you can spend them, and there's a little chart here, but you can spend them and go further. So if you can move up to 2, you're going to take your Cossack and you could move 1, you can move 1, 2, or you could spend a horse and move further, like I said. So at the moment, you don't really know which thing is good or what you're trying to do yet, but for the sake of this, I'm going to say that I'm going to move 2, 1, 2 right here, and it does recommend that you turn your little meeple guy over like that, so that you know when everyone's flipped over that that round or season is over, and to progress to the next season. So the first thing you'll always do is move. So we've done that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to perform 1 basic action. And I want to give a heads up that there are quite a few kind of confusing terms here when it comes to actions. And so you're going to hear me mention basic actions, you're going to hear me mention main actions, and you're going to hear me mention advanced actions. They do have some little symbols to represent them, but the first time I played, that part was a little confusing. So the thing we're going to do after we move is we're going to perform 1 basic action, and the basic action is represented by that silver disc or whatever that is. Okay, so there's actually 5 basic actions you can do. Okay, so the first thing is take a coin. So you can just take a coin from the bank, put it on your character card over there. We'll talk about what coins do shortly. You can take horses. So you would take 1 horse. I'm sorry, I said 1 horse. You're going to take 4 horses if that is your basic action you're going to take. So you would take a gray and a burgundy, and you would put them over there. You can move again. And I'll point out that all of these up here are what I'm saying. So I said the coins, I've said the horses, and now we're moving. So you could move again up to 2 spaces. And you'll notice that you could move backwards if you wanted to. So it's not one of the games where you're only going this way and you can't backtrack. You could actually move this way if there was something back here that you needed. You can hunt, which is represented by this. That's probably going to be what you do quite a bit at the time, I would say, because that's how you're going to get the fur tiles that are on the actual locations. So the way hunting works is if you did not want to spend any additional horses or anything like that, then you can hunt by taking the topmost tile. So I would take the 3 if I wanted that. And then the next person that gets there would get the 7 for free because there was no tile above them. If you want to skip a tile and move down, you could pay 1 horse. So I could pay a gray horse and I could take the 7. If you were on this tile, you would have to pay 2 horses to take the 4. So that is how hunting works. And then you'll see here that there is a slash there, and you can hunt a second time, but you have to pay a coin. And once you pay the coin, then hunting works just the same as it did the first time around. So if I took this one and then I want to hunt again, I could pay a coin, and then I could take that one for free because I wouldn't have to spend a horse because there was nothing above it. So I guess if you didn't want to spend a horse, but you had a coin to spend, you could go for that. All right, and then the 5th basic action is outlined right there. So you'll remember that we put this starter fur tile on there. So what happens is if you had a 6 in your bank or collection, you could turn a 6 in and you could trade it for a coin. You could trade it for 2 spots on the story track, which would basically be 1, 2. Like I can move that one up there. You could move again up to 2 spots, or you could take a burgundy horse, which is 3 horses. And you'll see that there's 2 boxes here. For each fur that matches that you turn in, you could do an action. So you get to do 2 actions. Be aware that you cannot like add furs together. So like if you had 2 3s, you couldn't turn 2 3s in for a 6. That's no good. You have to pay a 6 fur. But one thing you can do is if you have a coin, you can pay a coin plus a fur, and you basically turn that fur into whatever you want. So I could turn this in as a 6 because I'm using a coin. So that's why coins are very helpful, because sometimes you do not have the furs that you need, and you need to turn another fur into what you want. All right, so to recap real quick, we've done 1, move. We've done 2, a basic action, which is one of these 5 things up here. Now you're going to do 3, which is perform your main action. Okay, so that seems kind of weird because we just performed a basic action, but the main action is actually going to be a combination if you want to be. It can be either another basic action or an advanced action, which we have not talked about yet, but the advanced actions are represented by those gold discs. So you'll see gold discs throughout the board. So when you take your main action, and this main action is free, that's important at the moment, it can either be another basic action or it can be an advanced action. All right, so let's go through the advanced actions because they are going to use up a lot of different things on the board, but they are very fun to do. So the first thing is visit a village. So a lot of these down here are going to be, well, all of them really are going to be your advanced actions. So that might determine which region you go to, because until you have outpost, which we're going to ignore at the moment, you have to take the advanced actions in the region that you're in. So if I stopped here, I can't right now decide to do any of these advanced actions. I have to do these if I want to. Okay, so keep that in mind. So for right now, we're only looking basically at this little region here. So the first thing I can do is visit a village, and this is the village, and I said in the beginning, but you're never going to pick that up. It's never going to move. Anyone that comes here could visit this village. And what that little emblem means, and I'll move it up closer, is basically that's the symbol for the market. So that is saying you can take one of these market furs up here. You'll see that same little scale emblem. I could just take one of those for free. Okay, another advanced action, if I did not want to go to the village, is I could visit the yurt. These, again, are the yurt tiles. So I could visit this yurt. Now, the difference between a village and a yurt is when I visit this, I actually take it off of the board, and no one else can visit it. Now, you're going to see in the cleanup phase, we're going to refill some things, but if you visit the yurt, that way you might take that away from your opponent if you get there first. So if we looked at this one, I would just get all those emblems. I would get a coin, I would get a banner, and then I would get to move up the little song tile, which was that arrow looking thing over there. All right, so that was the second advanced action. All right, so the third that we could do is take a Czar's Wish card. And much like we were doing down here, it's this one right here. So we would take this, and much like our starter one over there, we would just put this into our hand, or whatever you want to call it, over here, and we would try to fill this requirement. We'll talk more about the Czar Wish cards, how you actually fill them when we get to that point, but just know that your third advanced action could be to take a card. The fourth thing is you can build an outpost. So right now we each only have one outpost represented by these X's. But if I want to build an outpost, you'll see there's one X up here left over. I could put that there. I would get whatever's on there. So there's like a horse. But once I've used my outpost, I have to gain more outposts. And some cards let you do that. Some villages and things allow you to get outposts. But the point of an outpost is, remember I said that if you're on this region, you can only do these things. Well, if you built an outpost way down here, once you got there, once you take your advanced action, you could actually use the advanced actions at the outpost. So it's a way of kind of spreading your influence and being able to have more options further down the board as you go. But remember, once you spin an outpost, it gets put up there. You do have to figure out a way to get more from over here. All right, you can claim a landscape tile, and that is going to be the last advanced action. So these are the actual landscape tiles here. So they do cost something. They cost quite a bit of fur. And I'm trying to see if there's, okay, here. There's a little, let's see if I can get this. This is your reminder of like what they cost to pick one up. That probably doesn't make much sense at the moment, but we'll go over it. So they are a lot cheaper if you wait until there are no furs on them. Because if there are no furs, then the landscape tile basically costs 2 furs, and they are whatever value that is. So if I got to this landscape tile, let's pretend that we'd already grabbed it, or maybe I bought these, or I hunted these, right? If I wanted to buy this, I would have to pay two otters. So again, I could turn these in if I had enough coins, whatever. But when you buy the actual the landscape tile, you pull it off the board and you put it over in your area. And you'll see there's a little emblem up here. There's mountains. There's like forests. There's grasslands. If you get a set of like 3 different ones at the end of the game, those are going to give you extra points. Now, if there are furs still on it, you still have to pay the 2 fur for that region, and then you have to pay an additional fur of that region for every fur on it. So if I was trying to buy this one outright, it would cost me 2 furs. Now, the good thing about it is if I had that many and I bought this, I would end up taking this whole thing and I would get these 2 furs that are on it. So you are making out pretty good on the fur side of things. If you have a lot of 2s, let's say, or whatever fur is on that region, and you want to use them in that manner, you can get some furs out of it. Now there will be, if you buy this one, there will be a blank space there for right now. When this guy moves, he would just hop over it. That doesn't count as a space. Okay, so let's reiterate real quick the advanced actions you can take are visit a village, which is this, visit a yurt, which is this, buy the card, the Star's Wish card, which is that, build an outpost up on that X, or buy the landscape tile. Okay, so the last thing on this is you can actually perform another action, and this action can be another advanced or another basic, but this one costs something. So you'll see if you do another advanced action, that actually costs whatever that fur is in the region. If you do another basic, it just costs any fur. So you'll see this kind of has an orange outline and these have orange outlines, whereas that has no orange outline. So if I took my turn and I had already done this advanced action here, my second one I could pay a number 2 and I could maybe use this. So all in all, you're moving, first thing, you're taking a basic action, you're taking a free advanced action or basic action, and then you're having the option of paying to take another advanced action or basic action. So outside of the moving, you could take up to 3 actions every turn. So that is basically how your turn works as far as the mechanics of it go. Before we get into how Ivan plays, let's just talk about a few of the things that are probably important to know while you're playing. So there are things called auxiliary actions. So these are things that don't cost anything and you can actually do them at any time. So you can buy furs. So you can pay 5 horses and you just throw them back in the general supply. And you can buy a fur from the market up here. And so you'll see here there's 5 horses and you can trade them in for 1 thing out of the market, or you can actually pull 2 from the bag and then pick which one you want. So if you don't like any of the market, you can try your hand there. Another thing you can do is trading furs, which you'll see here. And the way trading furs works is you could pay 1 horse and 1 fur, which you throw back in the bag, and you can take any lower value fur from the market than the one that you turned in. Or you can return 2 furs of any value to the bag and take any fur from the market. So to reiterate, you can pay a horse and a fur and take a lesser value, or you can pay any 2 furs and take any of them. And then the last auxiliary action you have, which is symbolized right there, is turn in a Tsar's Wish card. So if we look at, say, this Tsar's Wish card here, you'll see on the left side there is a certain amount of furs and at a certain value. So for us to get it, we'd need 3 number 7 furs. So if we ever got 3 7 furs, we could say, hey, we're going to turn this in. Now you'll see one is outlined red. Because it is red, that means that we have to have it to turn in this card, but we don't have to pay that one. We'd actually get to keep it. So we'd really have, once we had 3 7s, we'd pay 2 to the bag and we'd get to keep 1. And then you get however many victory points are there. And then this is going to give you some sort of bonus or something. If it's something that you are going to use throughout the game, you slide it up underneath your card here. And that's how you keep track of those. We've gone over the song tile emblem, which is just moving that up. And that's going to come into play in the winter cleanup. So we'll talk about that shortly. And then we also mentioned these banners. So at the end of the year, when we do winter, for every banner token you have, you get an additional horse. And there's only a select amount. So those are going to kind of go out pretty quickly and limit the amount of horses you might be able to get after each round. And then lastly, I think we have this emblem here, which is a very important emblem, and that has to do with our trophy track. So whenever you see that emblem, you are going to be able to move your little book over here. But you do have to be able to pay this next fur. So if I were to take this village or use this village and I had a 2 fur or I had a 4 and a coin, whatever, I'd move that up and I would immediately get to do whatever this says over here. So these are like rewards going all the way up. These points you do not count until the end of the game, but if you enter the game there, you're going to get 10 points. So the further up the trophy track you get, the better off you are. There are, let's see, these bears, which are 8. They have 2 of the song tiles on them, or song emblem right there. So every time you get a bear fur, you can go ahead and move your song tile thing up there. Okay, so I think that handles what you're going to do on your turn. So I'm going to move this guy back. And let's take a look at how Ivan works, because Ivan basically does most of the same things you do, but controlled by cards. So now that you know how that works, we can take a look at his. So you're going to take his deck, and you're going to place it like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this first card and you're going to flip it over. So now you have like a pairing, and sorry if it's got a glare. You've got 1, 2, 3. So that's going to tell you basically what actions he's going to take. So if we look at this, and let's see, number 1 here is his move, and it wants you to move 2 for him. So we would take him, we'd say 1, 2. And remember, throw him on the side so we know that he has taken his, at least moved. Okay, so number 2 here, he is going to hunt. And over here, it points to the top one. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the least value fur and give it to Ivan. Now this coin, that tells you if for some reason you cannot take a fur because say it's empty, he gets a coin for every fur that he can't take. Sometimes there are 2 arrows here and he would get 2 furs that turn. So in this case, he would take this top fur and he would go over on his board. We're going to just leave it there though. All right. Here, and I think this is the same on every card, but Ivan is always going to attempt to buy the landscape tile if it is empty. So if the tile is empty, then we check it and then he has to pay the furs, just like you would have to do. But if it's not empty yet, he's going to just take whatever action is on that village. So in this case, he would take a random fur from the market. And then his advanced action down here is that he needs to try to move up his trophy track. And he actually has a 2, so he would pay that and he would move that up. Now there is some like a, what do I say? Like an order that he spends his furs and coins and stuff in. So if he does not have the right fur value to do whatever action, he's going to first try to spend any 8 furs. And remember, 8 furs are these bears. Those. So for you, an 8 is not a wild, but for Ivan it is. So if he has an 8, he would go ahead and put that in instead of his other fur. If he does not have an 8, then he attempts to spend a coin. If he does not have a coin, he attempts to spend a tiger tile, which were those tigers way up there. If he can't do any of those things, so he doesn't have the right fur value, he doesn't have an 8, he doesn't have a coin, he doesn't have a tiger, then he just skips whatever that action is. So most of the time, maybe early on, he has that happen, but he ends up getting a lot of coins, it seems like, and a lot of furs, so he doesn't have that problem too often. He still gets horses and things, but you will be trading in every time he gets 5 horses. You're going to put 5 horses back in the bank, and you're going to move him up a victory point. So he gets victory points for every 5 horses. So if Ivan went, and then say I went, then it goes to summer. We stand each other up. Ivan goes, I go. It goes to autumn. Then Ivan goes, I go. And then it goes to winter. So let's talk about winter. So winter is going to be symbolized by that little section there. And it's basically like a cleanup phase. But there are a few things that you're going to do as far as rewarding people with things. So the first thing you're going to do is get income, and your income is basically horses. So everyone receives 2 horses, and then for every banner token, which are these, that you have on your board, you get an additional horse. And that's a reminder right here. So 2 horses, and then a banner equals another horse. At this point, you also might have like a Czar wish card that has this little winter emblem on it, the little snowflake looking thing. If you do have that, then you would go ahead and trigger that and do that. The second thing you're going to do in the winter time is look at your storytelling track or the story track, and you're going to divvy out these tiles. So whoever is furthest down the track, so say after fall, we end up like this. Ivan is the furthest going this way. He would get 2 additional stories points. So let's just say we're somewhere like that. Sorry, I hit the camera again. So he ends with 8 and I end with 6. You will see on the story there are points right here, or cost, I should say. These are points. This is a cost. So this costs 4. That one costs 3. Ivan is going to try to pay for, if he's the furthest down, or he has the most story points, he's going to look at these and going to pay for the most expensive one. So this one costs 4, and he would actually pay for 1, 2, 3, 4, and he would take this, and he would get 2 victory points. This would go away. So now my only option is to buy this one for 3. Then I would say 1, 2, 3. If these are the same cost, whichever one is to the right does Ivan pick. Now, if I was further down the story track, then I would get to pick first, and then Ivan has to pick whatever's left over. You can eventually get all the way down to 12, and if that's the case while you're playing, then you can pick any of these and say, I want this one. I would pay for 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would do that, but I would leave that out there. So at the winter time, we would do this again. So potentially you could trigger these multiple times if you got all the way up to 12 during spring, summer, or fall. All right, so once you've done that with the story and you spent your points, you're going to leave them where they're at. You're not going to reset them. So the stories kind of build on each other, but you would replace these with 2 new A's from this pile. And then you have this last little bit that reminds you here, you're going to take your Cossacks, no matter where they're at, and you're going to move them back down here. You're going to fill in any blank spots by moving these to the left. So remember, if we bought this one, we would shift all these to the left, and then you would take a new one out, flip it over on the end, put the fur tiles on there. You're going to reset the market. So you're going to take all these off, drop them in the bag, put them back out. You're going to move your yurts down to fill in any blank spots, And again, pull your A's out and layer them in. Same with the cards, move the cards down, fill them back in. The only time this is different is again when you hit this winter, you'll scrap all the A's and you'll just move them off the table and you'll put your B's out. And the B's are more expensive, but they also get you better things because you're further along in the game and you should be able to do more stuff. So those 3 resets are right here. And then you get to start again. And I think the first player is always determined by whoever was furthest in Siberia in the previous round. So you'll just keep track of your seasons up there until you're all done. So that is how it works in a nutshell. So we will quickly reset this. So what we'll do is we'll play, I don't know, 2 rounds real quick, 2 seasons, and then I'll just go over the way scoring works. So give me a second to reset anything, and then we will get back on that. All right, so basically just reshuffled these. Everything else we left out on the board is basically the same. So what we'll do is we'll have Ivan take a turn, and I'll take a turn, and then Ivan will take another, and I'll take another. And then we will just look at what the final scoring, how that works, and then we'll wrap the video up. So remember, on Ivan's turn, we're going to take this top card, and we're going to flip it over to make a pairing. And so let's look at this one first. So his move, sorry if it's blurry, he needs to move 2. So we're going to say 1, 2, flip him over. He's going to hunt, and he's going to take the least valued fur, just a single one. So he's going to take that 3, and he will just place it over here on his board. He's going to attempt to buy the landscape tile if it was empty, but it is not, because there's still a fur on it. So instead he's going to visit the village. So the village is to take one from the market. I'm going to double check really quick because I don't exactly know how he takes one from the market. So let me take a look real quick at this. Okay, so you would again look at this card, the same one about his hunting, and if it's the lowest, the arrow's on the highest one here, or the lowest value, but then he takes the lowest in the market. If it was down here, he'd take the highest. So he's going to take the lowest, which is a 3. So we'll do that. And then we're going to replace market. All right, and then we're going to look over here at this last action, and he is going to actually place an outpost if he has the fur that is, for this area. And if he doesn't, you'll see that in parentheses, he would just gain an outpost. So remember, placing an outpost is actually putting your X up here. Gaining one is getting another one from there. So if we look, he needs an otter, and look, he does have an otter. So he's going to take this and he's going to put this back in the bag. Boom. He's going to take his outpost right like that, and he's going to place it there. And there are 2 gray horses, so he's going to get 2 horses. And then remember, if he ever has 5 horses, which he does now because he's got 3 burgundy, 4, 5, he can throw those back over here and get a point. All right, so that was Ivan's turn because he did everything on his cards. So now it is my turn. So remember, we start with a move. So you can move to the same spot where he is at, which I kind of like because I need 7 to move over here. So I'm going to say 1, 2. And my basic action is going to be the hunt. And so I can grab this for free because there's nothing else on there. So I'll put that 7 over there. I could hunt again if there was any furs, but there aren't, so I will move down to my main action, which remember can be either a basic action or advanced action. And now that this is empty, if I had 2 2s, or if I had enough coins, I could do something there, but I'll just leave that. I'll actually take the yurt tile, so if we look at it, I'm going to get 1 story token, or move it up the story track. I'm going to get 1 banner. I'm going to get 1 coin. So I'll just throw that over there. So I'll get a banner. I'll get a coin. You can put these on your board over here. And I'm going to move up 1 of these. So that was that. And then if I wanted to pay an otter or something plus a coin, I could remember do another advanced action, or if I just want to pay any and no coins, I could do a basic action. But I'm not going to do that. Let's just move on. So at that point, we can move this to summer, stand our guys up, and it's back to Ivan's turn. So we flip this one over. So this time he is going to want to move 3 spots, and then he's going to take the 2 highest furs. See on that. So he's going to say 1, 2, 3, and he's going to take the 5, and he's going to take the 4. Yeah. Now, one thing is you'll see when he takes his advanced action, he's going to have some options now that he has an outpost. Okay, so if we look at this one, he's going to try to buy the landscape tile. If it's empty, it is not. So he's going to do the village instead. So the village is this, so he gets a banner, which much like with a regular person, just gives him horses at wintertime. And then he also gets to take a additional outpost, so that allows him to place that at some point when he takes that action. And then we will lastly look at this, and if he can pay the necessary fur, which is a 4, then he's going to take the Tsar Wish card. So he does have a 4 over here, right? Boom. So he could pay this, and he's going to take this wish card. Now, when he takes a Tsar's Wish card, it's immediately scored. So he doesn't have to collect any extra things on it. He doesn't have to collect, like on this one, he doesn't have to have all these. He just immediately scores this 1. So we'll give him that. And I think if it's an A card, he can actually just discard it, because the A cards don't the A cards don't have any like additional things that Ivan's going to do. But if it is a B card, that would give him some future or in-game scoring. So we'll just flip that over and stick that there, so we know he bought one. Now I mentioned the outpost. So say he did not have this. What he could do is try to do this on his outpost. So if he had an outpost further this way, he would start on the furthest outpost and move that way. So he could come here and say he had a 2 instead of a 4. He could turn in the 2, and he could have bought this card. So you'll see that now that he's got an outpost, he's got more options. All right, so he did his 4 things. So now it's my turn. So I can move, let's see, up to 2. So I'm just I'll just go here. I'll hunt again. So I'll grab this otter, put him over here. And then for my main action that's free, I would like to do this. So I'm going to get a coin. I'm going to move this up one. And then maybe I want to do an additional and do this yurt. But I don't have a 3. But remember, you can pay any sort of fur plus a coin. So I could do this, do the fur, and I can now take this, which would give me 1 of those, and let's see, 6, 7 horses. 7. Okay, so all right, we're gonna just go ahead and do autumn because I want you to be able to see how winter actually works in the game. And we're going pretty quick, so stand up there, buddy. All right, so flip it over. 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. He's going to take the most expensive fur, so he's going to take the 6. Put that over here. He's going to try to buy the tile. If it was empty, it's not. So he's going to do the village, which is to get a banner, get 4 horses. Remember, check and see if he has 5 horses, because if he does, he's going to get a point, but he does not yet. And then he is going to pay the fur that he needs and get the yurt. So he does have a 5. He's just really getting lucky on these, isn't he? So he's going to take this 5. He's going to put it in here. He's going to take the yurt. If I can pick it up. And let's see. He's going to move a song tile. He's going to gain a horse, which now he has 5 horses. So let's grab all 5. Let's throw them back in the pile and give him another point. And then remember this little emblem that looks like deer horns or something on the wall. Remember, that's for his trophy track, which is this little thing over here. So he wants to move up and pay for that 2. But he doesn't have a 2, but he does have a coin. Because remember, if he doesn't have the right fur, he's going to try to use an 8. He's going to try to use a coin. He's going to try to use a tiger. So he'll take his coin. He'll move that up. He'll immediately get that 1 victory point. All right, so that was his turn. So now it's my turn. So let's see. Let's go 1, 2. I want to hunt, but I want to actually get that 4. So remember, if you pay a horse, you can skip the top one. I only have to pay 1 horse. It's only that one, so I'll take this 4. Put it over here. My advanced action is I'm going to, let's see. I'll take this as my advanced action so I can get another story tile and get 2 banners. And then, let's see, I got 2 4s, yeah. So I'm actually going to buy the landscape tile, so, well, maybe not. Let's do some trading real quick. So, remember I told you we could trade, let's see, 5. So here, I'm going to turn in 6 horses and get 1 back. And that allows me to take anything from this top spot, or from the market, I should say. So let's just grab a 7 here. Okay, so 1, do I not have enough for this? Man, I really want to buy this. Oh yeah, I do. Okay. So remember, it would take 1 4 fur to even do another action. So I'm going to pay this 4 fur. Then to buy the landscape tile, it takes 2 of the furs. So I'm going to pay 1-4, and then this is not a 4, but I'm going to use a coin with it. Boom. And then for every additional fur that's still on the tile, I need to pay a 4 fur. Again, I don't have a 4, but I'm going to pay a 7 and a coin. So that allows me to actually buy this. So I'm going to pick it up if I can. So remember, I get the fur that's on it. I'm also going to get these bonuses down here. So I get 2 victory points, finally. 1, 2. I'm going to get a coin, and I'm going to get 3 horses. And then you put that over here. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. You just put it off to the right of your board. I get that. And then my guy just kind of chills out in here. We put all this stuff back in the bag. Boom. We'll refill that. Okay, so now we go to winter. And so let's follow this little thing up here. Okay, we all get 2 horses. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we get an additional horse for every banner token we have. So I have 3 banners. He has 2. So I'll take 3. He'll take 2. So I've got lots of horses that I can use to trade or hunt in future rounds. Next, we're going to look at who is furthest. So Mr. Ivan is furthest, so he gets, remember, 2 of these. 1, 2. Whoever's second gets 1, so I get to move up there. And now we get to buy these. So I get first pick because I'm the furthest along on the track. So I would like to buy this one for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get 2 victory points. So let's go ahead and throw those up here. 1, 2. And he is left having to buy this one for 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, if he did not have 3 points, say he only had 2 points, he wouldn't even get to buy that. And so he gets 5 horses, which, let's not even do that. Let's just give him the point because he gets a point for every 5. All right, and then we're going to reset. So we're going to take our dudes, we're going to put them back here. We're going to reset the landscape tiles. So we're going to move them all down like this. Flip over a new one. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4 open spots. You'll see the very bottom one says 4. So if you're playing with 4 players, you would fill that one in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to place them in numerical order. Boom, that's done. We're going to reset the song tiles. So you're just going to pull the next 2. 1, 2. You're going to push your yurts down. We used a lot of yurts. So we'll put that there. And then we're just going to fill them in. I'm just going to grab the stack so I don't have to keep reaching over there. So boom, boom. So we're actually already to our B yurts because I bought so many yurts. And we're going to push our Tsar Wish cards down, fill in those holes, and then grab one more and put it here. So then at that point, we could move this winter to the next spring, and it would be time to go. And so that was our first year, and you'd play 4 years. At the end of the game, you are going to do your final scoring. So let's look at what the final scoring takes. I'm going to just look at the book to make sure I don't miss anything. So obviously you would have your victory points at the top here, moving down that way, and you'd be gaining those throughout the game. The first thing additionally you look at is your Tsar Wish cards. So any of the cards that you actually completed over here that you put up on by your board that have final in-game criteria, you would apply those there. You would look at your landscape tile sets. So remember I bought this one that had the little grassland or swamp or field or whatever that is. So you'll see on the back, for every 3 you get 3 points. So every 3 that aren't alike, and for every 4 that aren't alike, you get 6 points. So you would just look at all the ones you've bought, decide how that works out, and do the victory points for that. If you have any tiger tiles, which were these that you did not use, because these are like randoms, or I guess wilds when you get them, but if you don't spend them, you get 2 points. So for every tiger tile you have left over, it's 2 points. And then there's a little chart over here about your outposts. So you'll see here this little emblem, which is an X over a blue spot. That's for every built outpost. So if you built 1 outpost, you get 1 point. If you built 2, you get 3. You built 3, you get 6. You built 4, you get 10. You built all 5, you get 15. So you'll see there that you definitely want to build your outposts if you have them, but if you get caught owning some that you didn't get to build, at least you'll still get a couple points off of those. You'll also want to look at your trophy track over here, and so whichever the highest victory point that you reached or surpassed, you get. So if I got here, I would get 6. If I only got here, I would get 3. So you both score that. And then the same with the last story track that you kind of ended on that last winter. For every 4 points you have left over, or 4 story points, then you get this many victory points. So in this case, Ivan wouldn't score any extra points because he didn't get that 4. I would get 1, but maybe if I got here, I would get 2. So you add those in, and then you're going to just look at what's left on your card over here and score some of these things. So for every 2 coins, you're going to get a point. For every 5 horses, you're going to trade in and just grab some furs. It doesn't matter the value, because then for every 2 furs, you're going to get a point. So it's just a way to kind of make points off of your horses and furs that you have left over. And then you're going to see who wins and has the most victory points. If somehow there's a tie, then the tiebreaker is whoever on that last turn has gotten the furthest this way. But I'd be pretty hard pressed to see a tie. But that's the game. So, I've really had a lot of fun with this. When I bought it, I played solo just over and over and over again, trying to beat Ivan. It's pretty tough, but hopefully this video helped you out. I will say, reading the instruction manual, this whole main action, bonus action, advanced action is not the most impressive way to lay it out. I had to read it and actually play a few times before I totally got it. My big thing was I did not know this first action here after the basic action was free, so I was paying for both actions down here, and I was like, man, I just don't seem like I'm getting to do anything because I never have enough furs. But rereading, I realized it was free, so just watch that when you are reading through the instruction manual. But it's been a really, really fun game. Looking forward to the expansion that's been kickstarted that will come out next year sometime. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like or a thumbs up or whatever they're called. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and go check out the website at boardgamebreakdown.com. We have a text review up of Stroganov and then links to all of our other stuff. So again, thanks for watching.